Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's presentation on trading psychology. We'll be going through the 3 pillars of trading success, and today's presentation will be joined by Mandi Rafsendjani. Mandi's a trading coach. I've worked with her, on a few occasions, and I really highly value her work and the value that she adds to her clients. So. Hope you enjoyed today's presentation. If you have any questions, we'll run through it at the end. Just before we proceed, tonight's presentation is educational in nature and that no personal advice will be provided. We do not take into consideration anyone's individual financial circumstances. If you wish to seek, financial advice, please seek an independent financial advisor. Okay, so just before we start the presentation, just a little bit about FP Markets. As you may know, FP Markets, we've been around since 2005. We're an ASIC regulated broker, and one of the things that we do really well is provide high quality educational content to help our traders. So we really do seek out, the best educators in the marketplace. And, one of the things that we're passionate about is, constantly trying to help our clients become better traders and obviously, equip them with the tools needed to, navigate the markets. We've seen 2016, present us with full of surprises. We saw Brexit, we saw, pound flash crash, Donald Trump, become a US president, and a lot of these, highly volatile events, running through, numerous conversations that I've had with clients about, being caught out on these certain situations and stuff like that. So one of the things that I felt appropriate, where we've sort of coming into, a period where I feel, the markets may be entering a phase where it could be a bit more volatile, like in the coming weeks or months. We've seen such a huge, Trump rally, I guess you can call it, since November, and it's, one of the things that I do see creep up in the press is, large fund managers, economists, etc., calling for, that 5 to 10% correction. So, one of the things is, what do you do in terms of, when you do get caught up in a market correction? Do you have the tools? Do you have the risk management strategies? Do you have ways in which you can, protect your capital? And I think one of the best, tells of that is, how your account goes through that period, and also, the trading mentality and the mindset that you have, in order to act. I know, if you're in a lot of profitable positions that you've ridden up, do you have that, that mentality to go, okay, you know what, I can sense, the markets are going through a bit of volatility. Do you hedge? Do you take some profits off the table? Or do you just sort of sit and just ride through it? There's some of the things that I find traders, always battling with. And, I feel tonight's presentation with Mandi will definitely, work through a lot of those. So again, FP Markets, we're an award-winning broker. If you have any questions about our products or services, we have 2 platforms available to you with over 10,000 individual instruments that you can trade, both on equity, CFDs, as well as spot FX, indices, commodities, and spot metals. Okay, so without further ado, what I'll do is I'll hand over to Mandi. Mandi will then, run through her presentation, and we'll have a Q&A section at the end. So just bear with me for one moment. Okay, Mandi, over to you.
Okay, thank you. All right, show my screen. Can you see my screen? All good? Can you hear me? Anyone? Sound check? Hello, hello, hello.
Yes, Mandi, I can hear you. So.
Yep. Okay. Good. Fantastic.
Yeah.
All right. So, Okay, so hello traders, and I just want to thank Jimmy and the FP Markets team to put on this webinar and to give me the opportunity to work with you guys. I will do my best to make the next hour as useful for you as possible, share practical tips and techniques that will help you to improve your trading and move that little bit closer to your trading goals. And as Jimmy mentioned, the next few months most probably will be very volatile again. It's been an exciting year in 2016, and what I found, the questions that Jimmy asked, they're really the questions are foremost on a trader's mind. What do I do? Do I get in? Do I get out? Do I hedge? What do I do with my position? And what I found is that when the trader is in this mindset of having to ask so many questions, that they lack clarity. And what I hope to achieve for you guys is that I give you enough tools that you can improve the clarity in your thinking. And if you have clarity in your thinking, you will know, you will have a much better idea of what to do. So yes. Now, before we get started, I just need to figure out how that works. Aha, fantastic. So I'm not going to talk much about myself because we don't have much time, and tonight is about you guys, not about me. For those of you who haven't met me as yet, a quick introduction. I've been trading for about 16 years and have made every mistake under the sun, lost money, made money, done stupid things, done brilliant things. So nowadays I'm trading my own account, and I also help other traders to achieve their dream of trading full-time as well. I had to work so much on myself that I have a lot of knowledge nowadays in terms of trading psychology, trading mindset, behavioral finance, so everything that we are going to talk about tonight. And I always love sharing that with other traders. So if you, I would like you to just stop for a moment and to think about your trading and how do you feel and what are your thoughts about you as a trader. And just be real honest with yourself. It's just you and your thoughts and you and your feelings. And ask yourself honestly, do you believe that you can make a great income trading full-time and enjoy an abundant lifestyle for you and your family? Do you believe that it's possible for others, maybe not for you? Or that perhaps you don't have the education, the support, that you're not lucky enough, smart, old, young, experienced, deserving, whatever you choose, that you're on some level not enough? And that certainly you will eventually achieve trading success if only you could figure out why you always sabotage yourself. And I found when I start talking with traders, this is really going on in their unconscious, that these are the questions they ask themselves that they never dare to ask, to tell anyone else and to share with anyone else. Now, what I also found is that this is a really big problem, because most traders who are unsuccessful, they deep down have a doubt that they can ever make it. And what I've also found interesting is that they say, I have a lack of proof. I don't know. I've never seen successful traders trade live, or, you know, you read about successful traders, but where's the proof, you know? So a lot of traders also believe that there's something wrong with them and they don't have what it takes, and yet they're working so hard on their trading, they're fighting so hard. And I will give you a little bit of clarity and insights around what is going on here. And one major reason is they have unrealistic expectations of what trading success is. Again, there is so much wrong information on the internet and on Twitter and on LinkedIn, and you know, about when traders talk about trading success, which has nothing to do with reality. Now, interestingly enough, every trader, no matter their cultural and social background, they seem to have the same challenges in trading. They all start out making the same trading mistakes, you know, like impulsive entries, exiting profit trades too soon, hoping that losing trades will turn around, or they hesitate to enter into a trade. So we can really classify the challenges that the traders have into these few categories. However, the reason why traders behave like that are usually very different from trader to trader and quite personal, based on their own history, experiences, and so on. So what I see also is that most traders, they attribute their poor trading results to not having an edge or poor technical skills, so they go out and try to learn more. But the real root cause of their losses is that deep down inside, they don't really believe that they have what it takes, and which simply comes down to a lack of self-trust. Now, Also, even though every successful trader, every real successful trader that I know of, and they tell their story and share their stories of trials and tribulations and how they eventually realize that trading success is a sum total of small successes. I see that most unsuccessful traders simply have an unrealistic expectation of what it takes and what it means to be a successful trader. And again, I will go into detail down the track. So letting your profits run and cutting your losses short is a skill. And letting your losses run and cutting your profits short is also a skill. And that's usually the skill that the traders practice more of than actually the skill that leads them to trading success, which is letting your profits run and cutting your losses short. So your income as a trader is determined by your strongest skill, and your longevity as a trader is determined by your weakest skill, because we all have heard the stories of the trader who has a really good run and then wipes it all out in one trade, and that's because of the weakest skill that they haven't developed or have ignored or are not working with. Now, the thing is, if you were ready to make, let's say, $10,000 net profit per month, you would be making $10,000 net profit per month right now, or even $100 profits a day, whatever it is for you, right? So if you don't do that right now, be aware that the extent of you being, again, fully aware of your strengths and weaknesses determines your ability to derive a long-term income from trading, that whatever money you make or not make is feedback for you. And so what I hear a lot is that traders, they say, oh no, I stuffed up, or I made this mistake. From now on, I will be good. What was I thinking? And from now on, I will be disciplined, I will be patient. And then the same story starts again. They're not disciplined, they're not patient, they don't take their losses when they should. They still get out of their profitable trades too early. So if we were to define what trading success means, trading success is a proven methodology, less your self-sabotaging behavior. And ultimately, most traders, they don't succeed, not because their strategies are not working, but because they are not working. And on the flip side, ultimately traders do succeed, not because they have a funky strategy or they have found the secret to trading success, but simply because they are working their strategy. And no trading strategy will be enough with a mindset that is locked in by the boundary conditions of the trader's thinking and what they believe is possible. So you can have the best strategy in the world, it's still not going to lead you to success. That's just what I see over and over again. Now, one of my traders that I just started working with last week, it was really interesting. He had this thing where he said, well, I don't believe I can be successful because, I've been trading and learning and studying for 10 years now, and I still haven't seen any proof that there are actually profitable traders out there. And I myself am really lucky because I have worked with some phenomenal traders, like amazing traders. Some have very simple strategies, some have very complicated strategies. It doesn't really matter because they have found the strategy that works for them and they make it work. And I can tell you guys, there are traders out there who live your dream, so it is possible. And so what I did with my client, I sent him some of my trading statements. I have that also on my website, where I turned $140 into $1,400 because at the time, it was 2014, I worked with a trader who had the belief that he can't be successful because he doesn't have enough money and he doesn't come from a wealthy family background, didn't have a high-paying job, so he felt he was doomed, will never make it. And so I created that to show him that when the market conditions are right and your mindset is right, you can turn a small profit into a big profit. A small pot into a big pot as well. Now, to my amusement, when I sent it to my client last week, he then came back and said, well, I want you to teach me how you trade. But this is missing the point, because even if I were to teach him my strategy, he would not be able to make it a success because he doesn't have the mindset as yet. So once we have developed the mindset for him, no matter what strategy it is, he will make it a success, he will work it. And part of that is him having the clarity that he needs in order to be successful, the clarity to know where his strengths and weaknesses are, the clarity to know when to trade and not to trade, the clarity to know when to hedge and when to get in, when to get out. So it's all about clarity, and clarity comes from you being congruent with yourself, knowing who you are, knowing your weaknesses, and knowing your strength. And what I really found interesting is I know that most traders work really, really hard on their trading, so it's not for lack of trying. And if you see anyone on Twitter saying, well, most traders won't succeed because I'm willing to work hard, I disagree completely. Most traders that I know, they work extremely hard. They sacrifice their family time, their health. They sacrifice so much trying to make trading work. And yet, why haven't the statistics changed? So in 1990, it was, I think, Richard Thaler who made this research, who looked at traders, at broker statements in America with a few brokers, and he saw that 90% of traders were not successful. And today we still have the same statistics. Why is that? We have all this technology, robots, high-speed internet. All the training in the world is available on the internet for free even. And yet the statistics are still the same. So I have been thinking about that a lot, especially because I was struggling with my trading performance just the same. It took me, God, I think at least 7 years before I made some headwaves, and you know, I've been trading for 16 years now. So thank God I stuck with it. I'm so grateful. But there were times when I wanted to give up. So the other curious thing is that these stats are not only applicable for the trading industry, it's the same for everywhere, every area of life. Maybe business owners, maybe athletes who want to participate in the Olympics, maybe relationships when people get married and they think of the happily ever after, and then they get divorced after 10 years. And, you know, about health, when so many women I talk with, they want to lose weight, and yet the first bakery they walk past, they can't resist the you know, the cream buns. So why is that? What is it that we are denying within ourselves, that we are not embracing, that we are not looking at, that we keep self-sabotaging our dreams, and that we put mental blocks in the way of achieving our goals of living a better life? No matter what it is, trading, business, health, relationships, it doesn't matter. Because what we say in neurolinguistic programming, how you do one thing, you do everything. And often when I work with a trader, I see that there's really behavioral strategies that they don't only apply in trading, but also in their relationships and everywhere. So sometimes it's easier for me to work on these behavioral strategies in their relationships. So how would they react to having a fight in the relationship? Do they retract? Do they, you know, just not fight and go away? So avoid a fight, or are they becoming really, really aggressive? And so the same behavior I usually see in trading when the trade goes against them, and if they're the kind of trader who, or the kind of person who would just walk away from the fight, they are the ones who ignore the losing trade, who feel paralyzed, who don't deal with it. Or the ones who are fighting in relationships, they are the ones who fight to keep a losing trade, to put on their hedges, or just try to fight to turn it around and to make it work. So there's behavioral strategies that are very similar. So that is great news, because then often I find it is much more tangible for the trader to see how they behave in other areas of their lives than in trading. Trading seems to be a little bit intangible for them. And then we work on this other area in their life, and then we can translate that into trading. So they get their learnings in a much easier and gentle and, you know, almost effortless way, and it's really exciting. So as a result of overcoming my own trials and tribulations and all the research that I have put in the last 10 years since I have been coaching, and again I've been working with a broad range of traders, from the novice trader to phenomenal experienced traders, professional proprietary traders, institutional traders who trade for banks. What I've been learning is that what is it that makes one trader fail, and what is it that makes the other trader succeed. And based on that work, I have developed what I call the 3 pillars to a trading success methodology. Now, I don't really teach trading strategy. I'm always happy to share my strategy if someone is interested, but this is not really what I do. There's so many amazing educators out there who teach trading, and again, if you want some names, I'm happy to share whom I appreciate and respect and admire and work myself with. but this is not the topic for tonight. So assuming that you have a trading strategy that works, the 3 pillars to trading success are trading psychology, behavioral finance, and performance metrics. And if you work on those 3, actually 4, because you have to continue working on your trading methodology. I've been, as I said, trading for such a long time, and I still learn, I still refine, and as Jimmy said, 2016 was an extraordinary year. The market didn't behave at all how it used to behave the years before, so I had to refine my strategy as well. I had to learn new skills and see what do other traders do to thrive and succeed in those markets. What is it that I have to learn? And I love learning anyway, you know, I'm always curious about what other traders do. So why do we learn trading psychology? It's because the mindset is what gives you clarity. If you feel muddled in your thinking and confused and overwhelmed, it's a mindset thing. How your mindset is developed, that shows in your performance metrics, so shows in this area. Now, behavioral finance is really important because behavioral finance teaches you thinking strategies. I found that many traders don't succeed not because they have emotional challenges or because they have mindset challenges, but because simply they haven't learned how to think strategically and logically. And so behavioral finance is really important, and it impacts the decision-making process. And then performance metrics, it's something that most traders avoid with a vengeance and hate and don't want to look at, but this is the most important part because that gives us the feedback. This is you looking in the mirror when you're not toned, when you're fat, when you're, you know, when you're not at ease with your body and saying, all right, what do I have to do to get my body healthy and strong again? Yeah, so that's your performance metrics where you have to look in the mirror and say, what is my weakest thing? What is it that I have to do to make my strength even stronger and work towards my strength? And a favorite example is Steffi Graf, the famous German tennis player. By the way, I'm German in case you missed my accent. She had this fabulous, amazing forehand. And so her coach had to think about at the very beginning of her tennis career, is he going to develop her weak backhand or is he going to focus on the strength of her forehand? Now, Steffi Graf also had another strength. She is very athletic. She has these beautiful long legs and she's very fast on the court. So because of her long legs, she was able to outrun most shots that were on her towards her backhand. So again, we have to look at our strengths and weaknesses in context of our whole life, of all our talents and traits. Now, because she has those long legs and is athletic, the coach decided to keep focusing on the strength of her forehand and to teach her strategies that she can outrun every backhand that was being shot at her, and that's how she became so successful. So we can't always say we have to work on our weaknesses and work on our strengths. We can't always say we only work on our strengths. It's all context related to what the trader has is going through. So in terms of trading psychology, so the first pillar, what Warren Buffett said, I love that. He says, until you can manage your emotions, don't expect to manage your money. And again, in the past, there was always the talk about that we have to trade without emotions. I think that's really not up to date anymore. Most trading coaches have caught up with that we need our emotions, that there has been research done that we need emotions in order to make good trading decisions. That it's all about harnessing the right emotions, harnessing the emotions that help us make good trading decisions, and turning the emotions that are not so helpful into emotions that are helpful. So emotions of fear and regret and anxiety and anger, they're obviously not useful. But if you can turn them into, so if you can turn an emotion of fear into an emotion of anticipation, for example, that is useful. And that's what a lot of my work is about. So questions that are asked in context of trading psychology is, do you currently achieve your goals and targets set? Why not? And if you do, why? So again, what's your weakness and what's your strength? What can we do more of that makes you succeed? What do we need to do less of that help you to reduce the losses that you make? How do you make fast decisions? Are you good at making fast decisions? If yes, you can trade shorter term strategies. If you need more time to make your decisions, then you need to trade longer term strategies. How do you learn from others best? Do you need to watch videos? Do you need to read? Do you need to hear them explaining their strategy? What's your best way of learning? What occupies your day? What are your thoughts? What do you read? What do you study? If you go through an event that affects you emotionally, how do you react? May it be the birth of a new baby, may it be a family member being ill, may it be that you had to fight with someone and you feel upset about it. What disappoints you most about you? What disappoints you most about others? What delights you most about you? What delights you most about others? How do you deal with risk? How do you behave in times of uncertainty? How much routine is in your trading? What I also found is one major reason why traders don't succeed, especially at the beginning of their career, is because they despise routine. They crave freedom so much that they confuse having a strategic approach and routine and structure in their trading day. They confuse that with losing their freedom and not realizing that the very structure that they implement gives them more freedom to do the things that they love doing, because they don't waste time with hanging on to losing trades and trying to fix it. They don't waste energy and sleep over hanging on to losing trades. But, you know, cutting your trades quickly gives you the freedom to do what you love doing most, and this is making money. So what I hear a lot from newbie traders as well is that they say, I don't have confidence at the moment because I'm not making any money. But as soon as I will see results, as soon as I have some winning trades under my belt, then I will feel confident. But trading doesn't work like that. This is what you call a circular logic. What this really means is I'm so not confident that I keep second guessing myself all the time. Should I take the trade? Should I not take the trade? Then you take the trade. You badly manage those that you do take, and you know, that's why you don't have profitable trades. But in order to stop second guessing yourself and not taking the trades and badly managing the trades, you need to be confident. It doesn't work like that. You know? You're stuck in this vicious cycle. So what confidence is really about is not having this, not fear. It's not having situations where you don't doubt yourself. It's not having situations where you don't badly manage a trade. It's about having those doubts and fears and maybe a lack of clarity sometimes, and still do what needs to be done. And when you have a lack of clarity, to go out and say, all right, so what do I need to do in order to gain more clarity? To take calculated risks and to have your money and risk management in place. So one major challenge for me last year was that my money and risk management didn't work anymore because the market has changed so much. So I needed to go back and rework that, and that's not my strength, but I have friends who are mathematicians, and I asked them, I said, how would you change your risk management? Mathematicians who are also traders, thank God. So I asked other people, because if I don't know, if I don't have the confidence or the skill set, there's for sure people and traders out there who do. So what I found is that the traders who are eventually becoming successful, they don't mind being uncomfortable, because they know being uncomfortable means that it's all new and unfamiliar. And then the more they work on it, it becomes familiar. And they take their losses even though it causes so much discomfort. You know, taking a loss is not fun. Most traders I know hate it, and you will never get used to it. So it's just a reality. Sometimes when you feel good about yourself, you don't mind taking a loss, and sometimes when you don't feel so good about yourself, it is harder to take a loss. Yeah? So it's just being magnified. But because the traders who became successful, they had this conviction of, I will find a way, I'm going to make it work. No matter what, there are traders out there who are profitable, and I can do it too. And they put their head down, they work on what does it take. So they don't just work hard, they look exactly at what is the key elements of becoming successful. And these are the three pillars that I just shared with you before. So no setback can knock their spirit. They have the setbacks, but they don't give up. Yeah. So, and tonight with this training, I hope that I will help you to come from a position of strength and to make sure that you stack the odds in your favor and that you come into this trading game being a bit more stable when you work most effectively, so setting yourself up for success. And so most traders who contact me for help, they have behavioral patterns that cause them to sabotage themselves. They battle with mental blocks. And unfortunately, it's only a small percentage of traders who are new, who want to learn straight away how to stack the odds in their favor and setting themselves up for success, who contact me. Most traders, they're already beyond going through those initial challenges. They have blown up a few accounts and they have realized eventually that it's not a trading strategy, that it's something within themselves that they need to learn. So guys, before you blow up your accounts, just, there's so much help out there. Work on your mindset as much as you work on your trading strategies. What I see as a result is that when the traders are presenting me with their behavioral challenges, such as the inability to curb impulsive trading behavior or reluctance to take a loss, they already are so deep down in the vicious cycle that they feel stuck, they feel angry, disappointed, helpless. So they go through this whole emotional drawdown almost, that it's really hard for them to come out and to see the end, or the light at the end of the tunnel. But if you are in that mindset at the moment where you face those challenges, know that there is the end of the tunnel, that anything that you go through, no matter how uncomfortable it is or how painful it is, there's always some solutions. Yeah. So, and as a coach myself, my job is to take you on the journey and to help you dig deep to that root cause that used to cause you that self-sabotaging behavior over and over and over again. Because what I also saw is that most of the time it's just one or two behavioral patterns that the trader does that keeps blowing them up. It's not that they do a whole range of mistakes. It's like one or two that they keep repeating, that they just don't seem to get on top of. Now, let me share with you the most common mindset challenges. Because we don't have much time, I will just go through them really quickly. Most traders, they work on perfecting their trading strategy, and they think if they learn more strategies, they will get more clarity and they will eventually become successful. So they learn, and I have done it myself. I have learned everything from GAN to harmonics, Elliott wave, chart patterns, candlesticks. I've studied it all, and I'm glad I did, because out of that I created my own system. But if I had worked at the same time on my mindset as much as I had worked on my trading strategy, I would have been successful much faster. Yeah. So the day came when I had to either give up or face up to the fact that there was something in my behavioral patterns that I had to change. So the second is the fear of missing out. Now, if you have the tendency to be impulsive, you have urges and temptations, you increase your risk when you're down, you over leverage. And I'm not talking about if that is part of your strategy. I know traders who average down, that's part of their strategy. They use martingale and they're extremely successful with that because they have the strategy around it. What I'm talking about is because you do it impulsively, because you do it out of the emotional intent, not out of a rational intent. Now, if you have that, then you have fear of missing out. And that's really the most common complaint I hear from struggling traders. They say they feel helpless, they feel at the mercy of their emotions, unable to control this urge or the temptation to get into the trade, even though they tell themselves rationally, I wait until the trade hits this level and then I either get in or get out. And then they don't do what they say they're doing at that level. So either they don't get at the level in, they get at a much earlier level in because they have the fear of missing out, or they don't take the loss at the level that they set because they don't want to deal with the loss. Yeah, so that all goes for me under FOMO. And that then eventually becomes a negative feedback loop. They feel trapped, and this is this endless fight of regaining control over losing trades. And as a result, you feel overwhelmed, you feel paralyzed, you blame the markets, everyone else, because it's so painful to look in the mirror, when in reality it's really your lack of self-management and conducting yourself in a productive way, often because you at that point are so exhausted, your emotional capital is depleted. And you most probably, and I've done it myself, and I see it all the time, traders spend their free time staring endlessly at screens. They can't sleep, they look at their phones, unable to tear themselves away from more than a few minutes from the screen, because it gives them a sense of control, and this is actually a false sense of control. Control is doing what you say you do and not staring at the screen, looking at your trade the whole time, hanging on for your dear life, fearing the pain of regret, because often what I see with traders is that they believe that the moment they close out the trade, it will turn around and go back into their favor, and then they regret getting out of the trade at that time. It's very, very common. If you go through that, you are not alone. It must be something in the wiring of our brain. Now, unrealistic expectations. Man, this is my favorite topic. Unrealistic expectations are really caused by those trading educators who, I don't know, who tell you can trade with a laptop by the beach. If you can trade with a laptop by the beach, I'm asking you, why do all the professionals have a setup with at least 6 monitors and they spend like 12 to 14 hours behind the screen? Like, I work hard. I have, at least 14, 16 hours behind the screens and do my exercise and, catch up with friends. It's hard work and I love it. I'm not complaining. I choose to live like that. But you can't get your 6 minutes trading setup from some company and think that you will get your riches. It's just not the way it is. We all work really hard. Now, what I also see is the unrealistic expectations is that traders say they want to make consistent profits every single day. You know what? Trading does not work like that. Once again, there are times when you have drawdowns over weeks and sometimes months, depending on what your trading strategy is. And but the thing is that if you look at your performance statistics, like, I know exactly what months I perform well and what months I'm not performing so well. And that's usually depending on the natural market cycles, market behaviors. Now, again, if there are traders out there who have like 2 or 3 months where they don't perform, and then 1 month where they perform really, really well because the market conditions are just perfect for their trading strategy. So if you think you can make money every day, well, good luck. It's not reality. Another downfall that I see for traders is that they are making consistent losses, and then they set their goals for the new year and they say, I want to make $10,000 profits per month. If you haven't created any profits as yet, to jump to $10,000, that is massive. It's setting yourself up for failure, because you need to progress. It's not about achieving a goal, it's about progressing and improving. If you are making, let's say, $100 loss a day on average, maybe your next target is to make $50 loss a day, and then to reduce that to break even, and then to start making $1 profit a day. Yeah, so progress and not go straight to a $10,000 profit a month. That's one of the major downfalls that I see for traders. They set themselves up for failure, and then they get so disappointed and so hopeless. And that's what we call the dissonance between the realities of what is realistically possible to achieve and what most traders want and dream about, and what they're being told by those trading educators who that's just a sales strategy. The trading educators that I know who are really good educators, they talk about their strategy being successful and not you being able to sit by the beach or you beating the market or, stuff like that. I have great contempt for it. Now, the next one is emotional fatigue, where traders work so hard on their trading that they forget about their health. And it's I've done that myself as well, and you get tired, you get adrenaline fatigue, you feel unwell because you gain weight, you lose your strength. Now, there's a strong bond between a healthy mind and a healthy body that has been, I don't know, 3,000 years ago, people knew that already, and nothing has changed nowadays. So it's really important that you do exercise in some way, shape, or form, whatever is realistic and suitable for you. May it be going for a walk every day, or may it be working out hard in the gym. Eating healthy, because what happens is when we have drawdowns in our trading or go through a tough time, I know that that's what I used to do. I would start eating more chocolates, would push my discomfort down with chicken and chips or have beer as escapism. I don't do any of that anymore, and hence I feel so much healthier. I don't drink at all during the week, only if I do drink on weekends. I don't drink much anyway, and I eat really healthy during the week. On weekends I allow myself to eat whatever I want to eat, but I see there is a strong correlation between the sugar I eat and the carbs I eat and the unhealthy food that I used to eat in my performance, because my mental strength and my emotional strength is being impacted by my nutrition. Now, the next topic is the outcome versus process-based performance. The traders that are not successful, they constantly rate their abilities as a trader based on their P&L. What's the outcome? Have I made money? Have I lost money? If it's a winner, I feel like a superstar. I'm awesome. You know, if it's a loser, I feel like a loser, right? That I will never make it. I give up. I feel hopeless and helpless. So there's these really strong black and white thinking of traders that are not successful, and this is the reason is because it's the outcome-based versus process-based. So process-based means that you have a very strong structure in place. You have a written down trading plan, step-by-step written down, and you follow your process. Now, I'm not a big fan of following your trading plan to the T, because I actually have a brain and the market doesn't behave always according to my trading plan. And so when I see the market behaving unusually, I might get out of my trade a little earlier. If it still goes to profit, then it's okay, because at the time I did the best decisions that I could make, and I rather protect my capital than taking too much risk. So because I've been trading for such a long time, I have a lot of intuition, I have a lot of experience. My brain has stored unconsciously a lot of trading patterns that when I get this intuition that something is not right, I follow that. Now, the difference between intuition and intuition is that when I have an intuition, I don't argue with myself. I don't justify, I don't explain why the market would do what it would do. I just see it, I feel it. So that's me. Everyone has a different way of processing the information, but because I'm highly kinesthetic, I feel, and there is no talk going on in my head. I'm in the space, I'm in the zone. Whereas when I'm into wishing, I have arguments going on in my head why this is going to happen or why not. So that's for you maybe also a great way of distinguishing when you're trying to justify a behavior or when you have a real intuition here. And intuition doesn't come after 1 year of trading, guys. It comes after 5-6 years of trading and looking at charts for many hours a day. Yeah, so really important. So being process focused means that look every day at how can you improve by 0.1%, by just a little bit, become a little bit better today than you were yesterday. Now, in order to know that, you need to have benchmarks of how you were behaving yesterday, how you were trading yesterday. In order to have those benchmarks, you need to look at your trading metrics, your trading performance statistics, and I will go into that shortly. So that's what I find with traders. They don't have any structure in place. They don't have any benchmarks in place, no measurements on how they performed. The only measurement they have is, have I made money, have I lost money? And that doesn't mean anything. It's like if you look at the footy game, if Essendon won or Collingwood won, doesn't mean anything. What matters is how did they perform on the field. And if you look at those guys, soccer, the same, any sports that we know, they have now highly developed, what's it called, technical, what's it called again? So technical tools that show them how they were running on the field, how many times they tried to catch the ball. And this is the statistics that we have to keep as traders as well. So the next one is learned helplessness. Now, learned helplessness is something that I come across a lot. What I also found interesting that the traders that I work with who are extremely successful, they don't have that at all. And learned helplessness comes from family therapy. I have studied a lot of family therapy. I'm extremely interested in that because I believe that most of our challenges in our adult life, in our trading, in our relationships, our health, and so on, success in life, financial success in life, stems from childhood. So I don't necessarily need to know nowadays what happened in childhood, but once I see the strategy and the code, what happens to the trader in their childhood, I then can shift that easily and can help them to move from helplessness and hopelessness into being in the driver's seat of their car, as we like to say, so beautifully. Now, one guy, a friend of mine who's extremely successful trader, ex-institutional trader, he just doesn't understand at all that traders can have problems with their emotions. They're like, what's wrong with those people? And I have to laugh. I'm like, you're so lucky, dude, that you don't have those challenges. But he has other challenges in his life, obviously, but he doesn't have any emotional challenges and he just can't understand. So it's very interesting. He has what's called a growth mindset naturally, where, anything that he can't do, he knows he will learn. He just has to practice and learn, and he doesn't worry about making a fool out of himself. So when it comes to, he had to learn how to dance for his wedding, and he is not really the best dancer, but he didn't care. He was just practicing and practicing and practicing until he got the hang of it and until he could look good at his wedding. So that's what we call a growth mindset. And a fixed mindset is where you look at yourself and you think you're hopeless, and on one hand you're working so hard and you hope that you can change things around and become successful, but deep inside you think you're fixed, there's nothing you can do to improve. And that comes from Carol Dweck, so C-A-R-O-L is Carol, and Dweck is D-W-E-C-K. If you Google her, there's a lot of work from her on the internet where she found out how to communicate with children in such a way that they can become super successful and naturally and effortlessly and not having to fight against their own demons. And one thing that is very apparent is one behavior for parents is that if your parents said to you, you are smart, you are a loser, you are, and then, a word came, that defined your I amness. So you started defining yourself as this fixed person. And so I know for a person that I know, for him it was, he was always told that he is intelligent. So now he can't be not intelligent, because if he's not intelligent, he feels like a failure, like a disappointment. So he can't have losing traits, because that would mean that he's not intelligent. That would mean that he's not lovable. Yeah, so really interesting thought processes that we have. So this is growth mindset versus fixed mindset, and this fixed mindset is what causes learned helplessness and other subjects, topics as well, which obviously I can't get into detail here today, but there's lots of pieces of the puzzle that cause this learned helplessness. Learned helplessness is one of the main reasons I see traders are not successful. And once we shift them from learned helplessness into feeling empowered, for lack of a better word, or feeling that they can do it and they can find a way, that's when their trading changes and the whole life changes, their relationships, their health. It's just, I love seeing that. It's really interesting. So part of this learned helplessness is this feeling and acting loop. Feeling, thinking, acting loop, sorry, FTA loop I call it. So traders who are in this fixed mindset, in this learned helplessness, they have the following experience. You see, losing trades that don't just happen out of the blue, and they're usually preceded by a series of trades that didn't work out the way you wanted, and that triggered then this feeling, thinking, acting loop. For some traders it triggers immediately, for other traders it triggers after the third or fourth loss. So to give you an example, is you might have analyzed the setup correctly, right? You see there's a setup, but you still feel a little bit unsure, and you start overthinking things. You second guess yourself. So that's, all the thinking that's going on. And then you didn't take the trade. So that's the consequential acting. So not acting is also a form of behavior. So because you didn't take the trade because in that moment you felt afraid to take a loss, or you had a loss previously and then you didn't want to feel that feeling again, or you had exited a previous profitable trade too early, it kept going without you, you saw the market running away without you, and then you still had those uncomfortable feelings, those feelings of discomfort that were still affecting you. So that is the feeling, thinking, acting loop, where you go through a series of experiences and that impacts your next trade. And this is only for traders who are stuck in the fixed mindset. If you're in the growth mindset, you know that this behavior or what happened in the past happened in the past, that you can learn from it and that you can now in the present make better decisions, and so that your future results are not decided by your past, but your future results are decided by the actions you take in the now. And at every moment, every now, you have a new opportunity to make better results, make better decisions than you did in the past. Now, I want to give you a few more examples. It's what I call critical moments. And those critical moments I put together from my own trading experiences and also from what traders shared with me over the years. And I saw a certain pattern occurring that every trader pretty much has the same experience. So I summarized them. Okay, so these critical moments are the moments that lead to self-defeating trading behaviors when you start self-sabotaging based on your feeling, thinking, acting loop. And what my goal for you is to recognize that when you had this experience, and to know that after that experience you're prone to making trading mistakes. Yeah. So first one is when I considered to get into a trade and then I didn't for whatever reason, and then it turned out to be like a super successful, great trade. It could have been like, the $5,000 winner that you really needed to buy that toy that you wanted, or to pay your mortgage, or to take your family on a holiday, or to just feel good about yourself and to prove to your family that you can do it, because they have been doubting you and you have been doubting yourself as well, right? Because here's the thing, guys, if someone doubts you and you feel bad, or you feel angry, or you have some sort of unresourceful emotion around that, that is feedback for you. Don't be angry. Say like, thank you, because that shows me and shows you that there's a certain level of self-doubt that you need to work on, that you need to deal with. So if you have self-doubt, don't be afraid. We can work with it. We can fix it. We can remove it and turn it into confidence, and helping you to move forward on the back of that. So so when you missed out on this great trade, then you have a sense of regret having missed out. You feel this discomfort of regret, and then you try to make up for this feeling of discomfort by jumping into the next trade. Now, so this is a very common behavioral pattern that I see. Sense of discomfort, sense of regret, sense of pain, jump into the next trade, because that in that moment releases and relieves that pain, and you feel like you have done something about it, and it is followed immediately by the next regret, because the trade usually doesn't go your way and you end up in another loss. So the second one is when I was in a profit that turned into a loss because I followed my rules. And I find for me the magic number is about 4. So if I follow my rules 4 times, I know that the 5th time I don't put my stop loss in anymore. And then that's the trade when I should have had my stop loss, because that's the trade that turns into a big loss. I don't know how the market knows that, but it knows it, I'm sure. So it's again, it's something that I found out for myself. 4 is my magic number. Every trader has to find out what their magic number is, how many times they follow their system, because they say stuff that not following my system anymore, because every time I do, it turns out it could have become a winner, and then they start having self-sabotaging, self-defeating trading behavior on the back of that. The next one is when the market rallies up without me and I missed out on the move. And then driven by the feeling of having missed out the first big move, I will start looking for short entries. And then I put my stop outside the reversal candle, and then it will be taken out because the strong rally continues. And this is what happened to this Trump rally, where so many traders, they were convinced that the market is going to collapse, and we all know what happened. And the market mostly came up based on being so many short traders being taken out. So there was a lot of stop loss driven rally from the Trump rally. And it's really interesting. So instead of then changing your mindset into going with the flow, with the trend, those traders keep shorting, keep shorting. Again, it's something that our brain and mind does naturally. And just having the awareness of it, you can then tell yourself, wow, look what I'm doing. I'm trying to short even though the market is strong. And maybe I need to be really careful here now. So it's all about awareness and then knowing what to do on the back of it. The next one is you got out of a trade and it keeps moving, so taking your profits too early. And then what do we do? We start calculating in our brain how much more we could have made, right? So it's like, oh man, I made $1,000 profit. It could have been $2,000. And instead of being happy about that profit, we have this sense of regret about the money that we missed out on. So again, and then on the back of that, we start having impulsive behavior. The next one is after a string of profitable trades, and that's so me, I get superwoman syndrome and I start getting sloppy. And I know that, I can feel it, and I have this little voice in the back of my mind saying, you better stop, Mandi, you better stop now. And now I listen to it, whereas in the past I never listened to it because I wanted more of this feel-good feeling of having those profits, raking in those profits. I would say one more, especially when my account was like close to a round number. It's like, just another $50, and then I have, the next round number, and that would be the trade that would turn into a painful loss, Superman or Superwoman syndrome. And then, the other situations, when I have a disagreement with someone, when someone has a health concern that, who's really important to me, those feelings or those experiences that affect our emotional and mental well-being, sudden financial pressures, those setups. So these are just a few. I have like 10 more examples, but again, we don't have much time. Oh my God, only 5 minutes to go and still 2 pillars to go. I hope this is useful for you guys. So the next one is behavioral finance, the next pillar. And I love this quote from Einstein, and this is when my whole trading changed. Education is not the learning of facts, but the training of the mind to think. So I started turning my trading around in about 2007, 2008. I started doing well, but my trading really started changing when I worked with Steve Ward. His website is highperformanceglobal.com. And I was so blessed that he still worked with me. He mostly works in hedge funds, institutions now. Amazing guy. He was the consulting trading coach for the show $1 Million Traders. If you don't know the show, it's on YouTube. It's fantastic. Where Lex Van Dam, who is Steve's friend, he took 10 traders off the street and tried the turtle example, if you can teach any trader how to trade. And I saw myself a lot in those traders, and it helped me to perform better. So Steve introduced me to the wonderful world of behavioral finance and Daniel Kahneman's book, Thinking Fast and Slow, which is my Bible. I love that book. And unfortunately, I haven't met many people who have read this book. Just found someone who actually read this book as well, another trader, so I'm really excited about that. So Kahneman and Amos, what they did was, so the Israeli guys, they did experiments in the 70s how people make financial decisions naturally. And what they found out is that there are systematic errors of thinking in normal people, in brackets, or in quotes, and through social experiments they traced those errors to the design of the machinery of our brain rather than the corruption of thoughts by emotions. So simply said that our brain naturally makes decisions that are not useful and helpful to make sound financial decisions. And guess what? The supermarkets and shops, they have found out about that as well. They have also read Thinking Fast and Slow, and they're applying those tools. And when we go through it, you will actually realize that how much they apply in those behavioral finance strategies. So behavioral finance in trading is the study of the mechanics that drive prudent decision-making processes. And what really took my trading to the next level was understanding what that is. So a bias is a mental shortcut that helps your brain to process the millions of information in a split second and to make faster decisions, and that's a survival skill. And we use those survival skills in making those financial decisions as well. And again, there is like about 100 of those biases. Tonight I will only talk about 3. Usually I go through about 10 of them. But yeah, so let's just stick to the main ones, and you will see how those behavioral biases are reflected in the examples that I gave before, the critical moments. So everything is interrelated. This is what excites me so much. Our emotional setup, our trading mindset is connected with our ability to have sound thinking strategies, which is behavioral finance, and that is connected with being able to interpret your statistics, because our statistics show where our weaknesses are, and then we can go back to our trading mindset and improve on our weaknesses and improve on our strengths. That then helps us, to again improve on our thinking strategies and so on. It's like, I love it. That's like a fantastic circular feedback. Mental accounting. So that's one of my favorite ones. And the reason for why that is one of my favorite ones is because I give you an example from my own life. So on the weekend, Saturday night, I would get myself a bottle of wine and, meet my friends. And I would usually spend about $20 on a bottle of wine. I thought, yeah, you get a good enough wine for that. So I remember once there was this bottle of wine that was $50 usually, it was reduced to $25. And the sign said, save $25 if you buy this bottle of wine. I thought, wow, I can save $25, and I bought this bottle of wine. But that was a mistake in my thinking strategy. And this is what we call mental accounting. So the example that Kahneman and Tversky used was they went to someone who was about to buy, let's say, a calculator for $15. And then the calculator salesman said, if you go down to the other branch, the calculator is for sale, and that's 10 minutes down the road, and you can save $5. Would you make the drive? And then they did the same example, the same experiment with someone who bought a calculator for $125. And again, said you can save $5 if you go down the branch for a 10-minute drive. Now guess what the result was? The result was that 68% were willing to go down to the other branch to save that $5 on the $15 calculator. But only 29% were willing to make the same trip to save that $5 on a $125 calculator. And this is what I did, right? So I was like, wow, I can save $25 on a $50 bottle. But how did they come to this decision? How did I come to this decision? Just the same, and you must probably the same. The brain performed this task by selecting an initial reference point, which is the price of the product, and then basing its decision around that point. And traders who have problems with thinking usually choose a disadvantage reference point just the same, and then therefore they make decisions that lead to losses instead of profits. Now, what's the thinking error here? It's that in order to make a sound decision, a smart thinking decision, the people who bought the calculator had to take that saving in context of the of their income and not in context of the value of the product purchased. And it's the same for the trader. They have to make the value of the profit or the loss in context of their capital and not in context of their trade. And everybody has heard that. I'm for sure you have to protect your capital. Everybody quotes Paul Tudor Jones, but no one really understands why. So I hope that now that you have this example, that you will never ever get caught out with that anymore. So I can tell you one thing, I never ever buy a $50 bottle of wine for $25, thinking that I can save $25. I'm well aware that I spent $5 more out of my budget. Now, when it comes to wine or clothing or shoes, there's obviously also the emotional payoff that I take into consideration. I'm happy to pay that additional money. But when it comes to trading, I'm not. So every time I'm about to think, oh, I don't want to lose that $100 in my trade, I then take my thinking back onto the bigger level, into the bigger context of my capital, and look at, is that $100, has that hit my money and risk management procedures or not? Because $100 on a $1,000 account is 10%, $100 on a $10,000 account is 1%. So, you know, $100 doesn't mean anything. It means everything, though, in the context of your capital. So, and that's why losing traders, they say, I don't want to take that loss. And successful traders, they say, I don't want to risk my capital. And this is really indeed the difference that I see between retail traders and institutional professional traders, prop traders. That one thing is massive. So every time you feel bad about your loss, look at your capital. Yeah, really important. Change your thinking. Now, anchoring. Again, I want to tell you a story out of my personal experience. Oh God, I still can't believe I did that. So I had this DEX trade on. So I'm a DEX trader. I love trading the DEX. I'm a scalper as well. I trade very short term, and it was in 2009, I believe it was, or 2010. I opened up a DEX trade and it just collapsed, and I made $4,998 or $92, something like that, in a very short period of time, which was a really good trade for me. And I was like, oh my God, just 2 more points and I have $5,000. And guess what? It didn't go to the 2 more points, so I could have my $5,000, which was not fair of the DEX. But so what happened was that the $5,000, that was my new reference point, my anchoring effect. Now at the time, making $200 a trade was really good for me. That was like my benchmark of excellence. Anything beyond $200 was me improving on my trading. And so here I was not wanting to take $4,992 profit. I mean, what was I thinking? And I was then starting to fight for this trade, and you know, the market just collapsed. I didn't look at the technical setup anymore and irrational thinking and my trading strategies. I wanted to have this feeling back of having the $5,000 profit that I was so close to. And guess what? In the end, I got out at $220 or something, because that was my benchmark. Interesting, huh? And so this is the anchoring effect, where my new anchor was the $5,000. And then after that, I was so devastated and I started doubting myself and I was hurting. Even though I came out at a profit, I was still upset about it. And it really had an impact on my self-worth and self-confidence. Now I understand it was anchoring effect that was happening. And if you go to the supermarket, I see some supermarkets. I remember I wanted to go buy, I saw salmon, smoked salmon that was usually, they said usually $12 reduced to $9. I'm like, oh, $3 savings? Oh, not bad, 30%. And then I went to the other supermarket and I saw the same brand was $10. And then the week after I went back to the supermarket where I bought the salmon on special, and guess what? It was $10 as well. So they fooled me because they understood that I responded to anchoring effect. But no more, I know about that now, and no one can fool me anymore. The next one is understanding framing. So again, it is used a lot in banking when they try to sell you super funds and they try to sell you insurances. Once you understand framing, you will never ever be fooled again. So the words that being consciously or unconsciously selected to describe a situation immediately change what it means to you and how you feel about it. And I work a lot with framing in trader psychology. The way you communicate back to yourself makes a massive difference on what you are able to do, so how you're able to take action. Again, another example of framing would be what we used before, where you say, I don't want to lose $100 in, I don't want to have a losing trade, or I want to protect my capital. Yeah, so that's another form of framing. Okay, so Kahneman asked, would you accept a gamble that offers a 10% chance to win $95 and a 90% chance to lose $5? Or would you pay $5 to participate in a lottery that offers a 10% chance to win $100 and a 90% chance to win nothing? Now, I find that traders who are trained in mathematics, they immediately say the correct answers. And people like me who are not good at mathematics, they fall into this trap because I used to go with how I feel about something and not think it through properly. I didn't use what's called the study of consequences. And study of consequences is really going through and say, okay, so what happens if I do A? What happens if I do B? What happens if I chose B? And what's the consequence of choosing B? Is it D and C? And so on. So 30% rejected the outcome in question 1, the gamble, but they accepted the lottery win in question 2. But you know what? Same have exactly the same outcome. And I was one of those people who thought, oh, the lottery win sounds so much better. Because thinking of a $5 as a payment makes it so much more acceptable for us in our society than thinking of the same amount as a loss. Yeah, so really interesting how you frame it. In your mind is how you feel about it, and how you feel about it and how you think about it will determine how you're able to act on it. So that's the 3 most important one. Then of course we have what's it called, confirmation bias and other important biases, but I think those 3 are the most important ones that are a reflection of the examples that I talked you through before, which are the critical moments in my trading behavior. Okay, so prospect theory is also a nice one. I forgot that I left it in, so let's use it. Which one do you choose? $900 for sure, or a 90% chance to get $1,000? Or second one, lose $900 for sure, or 90% chance to lose $1,000. So once again, the majority of people used $900 for sure, and in problem 2 they used the 90% chance to lose $1,000. How does that reflect in our trading? Well, most traders choose, so if I ask the trader the question, do you take your profits of $900 or a 90% chance to make a $1,000 profit, or would you choose to take a loss at $900 for sure, or 90% chance to lose even more? Most traders go for taking the profit at $900 or a 90% chance to lose more in the hope that the loss will be recuperated. So this is how we can take everything into the context of trading. Now you can see when you have those behavioral patterns, don't be upset with yourself, don't be harsh on yourself, don't feel bad, don't feel alone. This is how our brain is wired, and you have to rewire your brain like you have to do when you do sports, right? When you learn how to play tennis or when you learn how to do ballet, we need to train our body to do those behaviors, and it's the same with trading. You just have to train your body like you learn a new sport. Now the third pillar is performance metrics, and this is Steve's book, High Performance Trading, my favorite book in the world, together with Thinking Fast and Slow. An amazing book. I'm sure you'll love it if you guys buy it. And as Jim Rohn said, feedback is the breakfast of champions. And I love this one. It's from this website, SAFALNIVESHAK.com, Safal Niveshak. It's an Indian guy, and he's got this beautiful spiritual website. So I really wanted to acknowledge him because I saw this drawing before on Twitter, and he was not being acknowledged for it, which I think is wrong. I always like to acknowledge all the amazing people that I learned from, that taught me so generously. So if I ever forget anyone, I thank the whole world. Tony Robbins, my own mentor, Sharon Pearson, amazing people who are so generous and helped me to become who I am today, and this is also what I want to do for you guys. So the question is, if you don't ever get to see your profit and loss, how would you know how well you're trading? And I love this one. So we all know, you can control your risk and your cost and your time and your emotion, and you can't control the return because you can't control the markets. And so he says, so it beats me why most traders really focus on managing the risk and the cost and the time, the emotion. They focus on their returns. I mean, how amazing is that? I love that so much. Now, when I work with my traders and do performance analysis, I have a mental framework. I have mental frameworks for everything nowadays. That's my structure. I'm super structured because structure gives me the freedom to focus on what I love doing most. And I used to resent structure in the past. I thought structure is taking away from my freedom. If I have to follow a schedule, if I have to follow a plan, I found it really hard. Like if I say that at 11 o'clock I'm going to do 10 yoga sun salutations and at 10 o'clock I don't feel like it, I felt that my freedom was taken away. Whereas now I feel like I don't need to think about what to do. My alarm goes at 10, I'd go do my 10 sun salutations and I come back happy because my brain is free to think about all those amazing things that I want to achieve and do in my life. So when I look at my trade, I have put that into mental frameworks. Number 1, analysis preparation. Number 2, entry execution. Number 3, trade management, self-management. So I need to manage the trade that is closely related to how I manage myself. And managing myself is trading psychology and behavioral finance. Then I need to execute my exits. Then I need to do my analysis. I need to, out of my analysis, get new learnings, insights, and understandings, adjust my strategy, adjust my behavior, and then I start again with my preparation. Now, most traders that I come across who are not successful, actually every single trader who is not successful, very strong correlation, all they know about is how much money they have made or lost. And usually when they come to me, they have lost a lot of money. And they totally disregard all these other metrics that I go through with them, because as soon as I know what the biggest loser, the biggest winner is, so if the biggest winner is smaller than the biggest loser, then I know there's a mistake. There's a problem here with their money and risk management. If their winning run is out of whack. So now out of my winning run, I know that after 4 successful trades, I start losing focus. So I need to go and refocus and do something, maybe my sun salutations or have a coffee with my friend, whatever it is. Yeah. So I know out of my statistics, if my timing is good, if my timing is out of whack, then I need to work on my trading strategy again, because my timing is out of whack and maybe not suited for the market. Yeah? So I know I went through performance statistic a little bit quick, but today I know I can only give you an introduction. There's a 5-day training, 5-week training on the back of that. You know, I can talk for hours. But what I want you to know is that wherever you are at in your life right now, in your trading, you can change your trading results. Don't give up. Trading is the hardest and the greatest job in the world, in my opinion. I love it so much. It has made me a better person. It has made me has given me options and opportunities that I would have never thought possible. And I have met people who are just amazing, and I wish the same for you guys. Wherever you are at in your life, in your trading right now, work on your trading psychology, learn emotional self-regulation, look up the marshmallow experiment, so you learn more about emotional self-regulation when you work with, when you have kids and how you were as the kids. Plasticity tells us nowadays that you can teach an old dog new tricks, that your brain, no matter how old you are, can create new pathways. Train your financial decision-making skills by learning how your brain naturally makes decisions and how you need to train your brain to make decisions that are so much more useful and helpful for your trading. Adjust your performance. Learn to become a good loser first. Once you have learned to become a good loser, you will be a winner. And don't believe in those fairy tales, this trading 1 hour a day with a laptop by the beach. There's a lot of glare by the beach. You can't see your charts. Not possible. And what I want you to know is that I always say every successful trader has a dark past. I certainly have, and every successful trader that I have come across has. But every losing trader has a bright future. And I love this thing from Karl Barth, this saying, though no one can go back and make a brand new start, anyone can start from now and make a brand new end. And I will hand over to Jimmy now. And I just want to thank you all for being here, and hopefully this is useful for you and helps you to create a bright trading future. Now, Jimmy, how do I hand back to you?
No, that's all right, Mandy. I can do it from my end. So really appreciate
Okay,
that.
fantastic.
This presentation, we've got so many questions coming through just in regards to how well this presentation was presented, just more information about yourself and the services that you provide, also about the books that you mentioned as well. So I've done my best to reply back to a lot of those messages, but we will send links to all those to those references, as well as Mandy's website as well. I have no doubt everyone in this presentation got a lot of value out of it, just judging by the comments, but also, for me personally, I'll probably be watching this a few times just to sort of really ingrain a lot of, the wisdom that you imparted. One of the things that, Mandy mentioned, she works with a lot of traders. Like she can't mention any names, but some of the caliber of these traders that she works with, these guys are managing, millions and millions and millions of dollars, and they've been doing it for a long time. So it's not like she's just working with private traders. She's working with institutional traders, with bank traders, hedge fund managers, all that sort of stuff. When you start to see, Mandy really, open up and, share a lot of this information that she normally, would, sort of reserve for more, private sessions and things like that. It's really refreshing to see. So I'm very excited to have, this content available to our clients where they can, hopefully use it to their benefit and become better traders. That quote there, every successful trader has a dark past, and every losing trader has a bright future. And I think that's what everyone's looking forward to. Just turning the corner. Mandy mentioned that it took her 7 years to sort of turn that corner. But the thing is, once you do turn that corner, you don't look back, and it only gets bigger and better. So again, Mandy, really appreciate your time. I'll make sure that everyone in this presentation gets a copy of the slides as well as the recording. And judging by the feedback, Mandy, we might get you back for another presentation down the track, because it seems like you're very popular and a lot of the content that you provided there. So what I'll do is maybe just hand it over to you. There are some questions there. I don't know if you're able to sort of pop out that window and sort of go through, but I might just sort of just keep it open for another few more minutes where we can sort of run through some of the questions there. So
okay, so let me just see where it starts. Can you? Hi, Jimmy. Morning. Sorry, I'm still going. It would be great to get your preferred traders system. So it would be great to get your preferred traders. You respect emailed at the end. Can you see that question, Jimmy?
Yeah, I do. I'm not. I think the question there might be referring to, potential traders, like actual authors, who might have systems and stuff like that. So, just so some of our clients may have a bit of a reference point which they can sort of use. So, whether it's the Turtle Trader system, whether it, whoever that may be. So.
Okay, I will email that to you, Jimmy, and then you can pass it on to, is that okay? So good. Thank you.
I think there's another question now, trading plan template. So.
Yep, I can send you something. I actually have a, what I use, it's called a business trading plan. And that's another thing that I find really curious. So traders want to trade full time, and every person who opens up a shop or some sort of business, they know that they have to have a business plan, but for their trading, they don't do it. So I do have a few templates. Again, Jenny, I will forward them to you.
Okay.
And then, so I have templates for everything. As I said, I love mental frameworks. I love structure. So I have templates for the business trading plan. For my trading strategy, I have something that I take off. And I also have a template where I list all the mistakes that I did. So I learned that from Tom Dante. Then I have a list of behavioral biases that I am prone to that I also tick off. It's like, oh no, again, I did confirmation bias because I was short and I was looking for on Twitter for everyone who's short, you know,
Yep,
disregarding
been there,
anyone
done
who's long. Oh, yep, you all have. So I have 4 or 5 templates that I will forward to you, Jimmy.
that. Okay, excellent.
Do you have psychological checklist if you're ready for trading in the moment? I personally don't use a checklist for if I'm ready to trade because, to be honest, I don't have a choice. I need to pay my rent. I need to be ready. So what I do is I'm proactive. I do everything that I need to do in order to be ready. So I do yoga for my mental strength. I use Feldenkrais a lot. I don't know if people know Feldenkrais. So one thing I do, it's a little silly, but I love it. I stand on one leg. If I can stand steady, I feel that I'm balanced and in a good mindset to trade. If I'm wobbly, I do some Feldenkrais movements that help me to get balanced in my body and myself, or I can do yoga. So it's little checks that I do in order to be ready for my trading. Again, I've been trading for such a long time. I was talking with Jimmy before about, I don't know if you guys remember, Lewis Hamilton, the best race car driver in the world, got fined for doing donuts here in Melbourne a few years ago during the Grand Prix. And I've been trading for 16 years. Unlike Lewis Hamilton, I can do a few donuts and I don't put anyone into danger. Whereas when I was at the beginning of my trading career, I needed to do a lot of work on myself to be balanced and need to have mental checklists. So maybe the reason why I don't use mental checklists anymore is because, you know, I've done it for such a long time. I'm kind of know what I do. But again, I have a few checklists that I'm happy to send forward to Jimmy. Do you like short trading in practice? Yes, I do. The book, it's High Performance Trading by Steve Ward and Thinking, Fast and Slow by Kahneman. Again, Jimmy will get the information. You can forward that to everyone who has registered, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So a lot of people ask about the book. Websites, Kahneman and Amos. Kahneman is Kahneman, and most probably you don't understand because it's my accent. I said it in the German way.
That's okay. I think I replied to that message and I sent everyone the link.
Okay,
yep,
awesome.
yep, for the books, yeah.
Okay. 10 lottery ticket and make 100% profits. I think he was joking, right? Pretty. Could you please send me? Okay, cool. Oh, really? Oh, so Pradeep says Safal Niveshak means successful investor. Oh, thank you. I love that. See, I love working with people because I learned so much as well. I think we're almost to the end.
Yeah, I think we're almost there. So,
yeah. Any questions? Oh, email Jimmy. He can forward me any questions if something comes up afterwards. So that's all cool.
Yeah, and I guess, you know, just a link that I sent before, if anyone wants to, you know, find out a little bit more about Mandi, you can find out more information on the website, tradingpsychology.com.au. There she's got, you know, various links, you know, information about her courses, all that sort of stuff that, you know, some people were asking during the course of the webinar. So, Mandi, again, thank you for your time today. I don't want to keep everyone else up too much longer. The presentation will be recorded and we'll send it out. And yeah, definitely, you know, I got a lot out of it. I'm sure a lot of everyone else did as well. And yeah, and again, you know, we really appreciate your time tonight.
And Dankeschön, Ingo, and tschüss. So someone just spoke to me in German and just said tschüss back. Okay, so do I finish it up here on my end, or do you do that?
Yep. No, that's. I'll stop the presentation now. So everyone, thank you for your time this evening. Again, if you want to find out more information, you know where to go. We'll have the recording ready. Hopefully, you know, by the end of the week, and we'll send that out. So everyone, good luck with your trading. You know, hopefully you can take away a lot of the information from this presentation, and you know, as all of us as traders and want to be traders and want to get better each and every day. Hopefully, we all get there eventually. Okay, take care.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.